All the way from Johannesburg, South Africa, my name is Namhla. Welcome to your favorite Black entertainment channel. And getting straight into our headlines for your news today, we've got family demanding answers after a shootout in Braamfontein between students and the police. Wits University crisis. A student journalist recalls ordeal of being shot by police. Higher education demands answers on protest shooting. Nfsas promise on students' loan. Pretoria students join in mourning. KZN cabinet reshuffle. South Africa could miss COVID vaccination target. And those are your headlines for today's bulletin. Remember to send your comments and stories to our social media pages. Welcome to your news bulletin. Our first story, Wits student protest killing. Thokozi Sintumba's family members demand justice. Thokozi Sintumba's family members demand justice. The distraught family of a man killed when police and University of Witwatersrand students clashed in Braamfontein on Wednesday. The distraught family of a man killed when police and University of Witwatersrand students clashed in Braamfontein on Wednesday want swift action. Thokozi Sintumba told his family he was going to see the doctor. That was the last time they heard from him. Ndumba's wife kept calling him to check on him, but he didn't answer his phone. Thokozi Sintumba's wife later received a call from her husband's phone, but the voice on the other end was not the one she was accustomed to. The heartbreaking news she received from the other left her shattered. Ndumba, who worked for the Department of Human Settlement, was killed as he left a medical center in Braamfontein, allegedly shot dead by the police during a protest by Wits students. He was an innocent passerby. Ndumba's cousin Thembiso Jwaga said when he left the doctors, that's when he met his fate. What the family wants now is swift justice. It was traumatizing for most family members who learned about the death on social media. We want to see accountability, Jwaga said. He received a phone call from a relative notifying him of the cousin's death. I then immediately switched on the TV to watch on the news, but what I found were images that I was not ready for. Jwaga said the rest of the family learned of the killing on social media. Jwaga said what he would miss most about his cousin was the jokes they shared whenever they were together. I will most remember him for his jokes. We joked a lot when we were together. Simply titled, As Growing Up, That's What We Used to Do. Jwaga said his cousin was passionate and ambitious. He was very responsible and was a family man. He was responsible to the point where he did not just care for his immediate family, but his extended family as well. He played the leading role in our family. Last year, he graduated with a master's. Ndumba left behind 4 children, 2 boys and 2 girls, and his wife. The youngest child is only 8 months old. No one has been arrested for the incident, and police have not yet taken responsibility for the killing. Carrying on with our next story, Wits University crisis. Vice-Chancellor Zeblon Vilakazi speaks on student debt of 1 billion rand. Wits response to the national higher educational financial crisis. This from the 11th March 2021. Professor Zeblon Vilakazi unpacks the issues and details Wits support for students. The issue of student funding is a national system-wide issue which Wits cannot solve alone, says Professor Zeblon Vilakazi, who is the Vice Chancellor and Principal of Wits University. The state and other social actors have a critical role to play in resolving the crisis. We need an urgent national debate on this crisis, and our students need long-term definitive solutions to funding higher education. Vilakazi also clarified issues related to registration and the 2021 academic year. And to our next story, Higher Education Minister wants Wits and the SAPS to explain the shootings. Higher Education Department in communication with Wits University management over the protests of the 11th March 2021 shooting. The Higher Education Department says it is in communication with Wits University management over Wednesday's protest during which a man was shot dead and 2 students wounded in Braamfontein, Johannesburg. Moving on to our next story, Dr. Blade on Nfsas promise. Blade Ndimande gives update on decision taken on Nfsas. Minister of Higher Education and Training Blade Ndimande will give an update. This actually took place yesterday, and he went on further to say that funding in higher education institution is again a continuous issue in the country after some students at Wits University took to the streets urging the government to assist underprivileged students. There were violent confrontations between students and the police during the demonstrations in Braamfontein, Johannesburg, resulting in the death of a man and 2 shootings of student journalists. The Minister of Higher Education, Blade Ndimande, has appealed for calm, saying that Nfsas student funding is on track for deserving students. Ndimande was addressing the media following a cabinet meeting during which students' grievance regarding to the National Student Funding Aid Scheme and begoing debt was discussed. The cabinet meeting came after the violent student protests led to the killing of a man and, of course, the shooting of the 2 students. Ndimande said the government was committed to ensuring that the deserving students are supported through higher education. Our sincere condolences go to the family, friends and colleagues of the deceased. And moving on to our next story. KZN Cabinet Reshuffle. KZN Cabinet Reshuffle. 2 MECs sworn in Pietermaritzburg. The vacancy for KZN MEC for Transport, Community Safety and Liaison has been filled in by a surprise mini cabinet reshuffle. The position was held by Bheki Ntuli, who died in January following COVID-19 complications. The province deployed Education MEC Kwazi Mshengu to act in the role. Zikalala concerned about frontline workers. Public Works and Human Settlements MEC Peggy Nkonyane has been sworn in as Transport MEC. MPL Jomo Sibaya assumes the position at Public Works in Pietermaritzburg. And moving on to our next story, Pretoria students join in the mourning of the protest students who were shot and killed. The University of Pretoria Tax has joined Wits University in protesting over National Student Financial Aid Scheme, which is known as Nfsas. There has been widespread anger over the lack of funds, and tax students aired their grievance at the Department of Higher Education and Training and its Minister Blade Ndimande. The students took to the streets of Pretoria to show solidarity with their Wits University counterparts. And our next story, South Africa could miss the COVID vaccination target. South Africa is still waiting on shots for target vaccination drive. Johannesburg, South Africa is likely to miss its target of inoculating as many as 1.5 million people against the coronavirus by the end of this month because of sufficient shots aren't available. The nation's Deputy Health Minister said the country began dispensing Johnson & Johnson vaccines from February 17 as part of the clinical trial that enabled it to bypass normal regulatory procedures, while the government has secured 11 million of the single-dose J&J shots, 20 million vaccines from Pfizer, and additional supplies through the COVAX facility that supplies free doses to nations in need. They aren't due to arrive as soon as the government had hoped. Thanks so much for watching. It is Friday, that's why I've got such a big smile on my face, and I do hope you enjoy the rest of your viewing right here on your favorite home of Black entertainment. From myself, all the way from Johannesburg, South Africa, signing out saying happy Friday. Do look after yourself. Take care.